What's up, YouTube? This is Too Raw for TV. So this will probably be my last video for today. Just saw something interesting that I want to share with you all. So, of course, ever since that horrible debate performance last month, there's been pressure for Joe Biden to step aside in his re-election bid. And after an initial resistance from Joe Biden and his family and his camp, eventually they acquiesced to the polls, the pundits, and the power elite in the Democratic Party. On Sunday, Joe Biden, ill with COVID, issued a statement, or at least the White House issued a statement stating that Joe Biden would be dropping out of the race and not running for re-election. And of course, almost immediately, Kamala Harris announced her intentions on running for president. And it seems that she pretty much has it all sold up. The delegates that were once pledged to Biden have pledged their support. A lot of them, most of them, the majority at least, have pledged their support for Kamala. And it seems as if she is going to be the Democratic nominee. The only thing that's a question now is who's going to be her running mate. Now, the two names that I see talked about the most are Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro and Arizona Senator, I think his name is, I forget his first name. I know it's something Kelly. Sometimes I forget his first name. I know it's Kelly. Anyway, those seem to be the top guys. But what I'm starting to wonder is, Joe Biden is supposed to, Mark Kelly is his name, Mark Kelly. Excuse me for that. But anyway, Joe Biden is supposed to give a speech tonight, further explaining his decision to bow out of the presidential race. Now, what I'm starting to wonder, even though I don't think he's going to do it, but I think there's a remote possibility of it. Do you think there's any chance that President Biden may resign tonight? Now, let me say this. When I say resign, I don't mean effective immediately. I mean, maybe perhaps a transfer of power within a month or within 2 weeks. And the only reason why I'm even entertaining this, because I know there's been calls from Republicans for him to bow out. And they're just being, with that, I just say be careful what you wish for, because their argument is, well, if he's not fit to run for re-election, he shouldn't be president. First of all, the reason why he's not running is because the party is bullying him out of running because they think that he's a losing candidate. You know what I'm saying? If the Republicans are so fired up about getting the guy out of office because he's not fit for office, well, then they should have got Reagan's ass out of office in 87, 88 if they're that determined about that, if they're that gung-ho about it. But anyway, sometimes I wonder if Joe Biden might pull a Nixon. Now, of course, we all know Richard Nixon is to date the only United States president ever to resign. He resigned back in August of 1974 in the wake of the Watergate scandal. And his decision to resign came about a week or maybe a week and a half earlier, because basically, I think maybe it was 2 weeks before he resigned, the smoking gun tape came out, which had him talking to his chief of staff, H.R. Haldeman, explicitly giving directions to have the FBI, and I think the CIA will, but I know the FBI, to basically leave the Watergate issue alone. Don't investigate it. Which basically proves a couple things. That he knew about the Watergate break-in earlier than he claimed, and that's evidence of a conspiracy to cover up the scandal. Excuse me. So Nixon, who was already teetering on the brink of devastation at that point, that was it. He totally lost his base in Washington of support, and he had to resign, because had he not, he would have almost certainly have been impeached and removed from office, and subsequently probably convicted in a trial in the Senate, and he would have gone to prison. What saved him from going to prison was a pardon from President Gerald Ford. By the way, Gerald Ford once said something about how this country would get its first woman president. And he said this back in 1989 when he was talking to a group of young kids. And one young girl, I think it was, asked him about, will we ever have a woman president? And this is what Gerald Ford said at the time. Remember, this is 1989.
Mr. Ford, what advice would you give a young lady wanting to become President of the United States?
Well, I hope we do have a young lady at some point become President of the United States. I can tell you how I think it will happen, because it won't happen in the normal course of events. Either the Republican or Democrat political party will nominate a man for president and a woman for vice president, and the woman and man will win. So you'll end up with a president, a male, and a vice president, a female. And in that term of office of the president will die, and the woman will become president under the law or constitution. And once that barrier is broken, from then on, men better be careful, because they'll have a hard time ever even getting a nomination in the future. But that's the way it's going to happen.
Well, Biden is still here, you know what I'm saying? So that hasn't happened. Hopefully it doesn't happen. I don't care for Joe Biden at all, but I don't wish any harm toward him. But that's interesting that he said that it wouldn't come in a normal course of events. Now, there have been rumors that Joe Biden, his health is shaky, a little shaky. Not saying he's near the end or nothing like that, but, his health is a little bit, it's bad. You can see a deterioration in Joe Biden over the last 3.5 years. You could definitely see a deterioration. Hell, he even seemed like he shrunk a little bit. He stooped more. He's slower. So there's definitely something there. But anyway, this is interesting words from Gerald Ford. But tell me what you guys think. Hello?
Hey, well, my bad, man.
I was pretty much at the end.